Greetings, all you would-be villains out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din coming at you with another My Hero Academia chapter review. This time it's chapter 228 titled Wounded Heart, as we see Dabi face off against the ice-wielding member of the League of Villains. Now, at first, Dabi's pretty certain that he'll have the opportunity to take this guy down no sweat. And this guy isn't even actually named in the chapter. That's the weird thing. It's just kind of like he just has this power. He just shows up and it's just like, I have power, fight me. But then Dabi comes in when his blue flames and just goes in to melt all of his ice, thinking, well, fire, ice, naturally I'm just gonna melt all your shit. And, at first, the guy seems like he's in trouble, but then he starts pulling all the surrounding ice towards him from, like, the convenience store and stuff. And he basically brings out Hyorn Maru from Bleach, Hetsugaya's ability. And it's this giant ice dragon, basically. And the guy goes on about his background and the fact that he spent all of his time not going to school but just training his ice manipulation abilities. He never attended school, he just devoted himself wholly to his quirk, all for the Liberation Army. And Dabi's just like, well, that sounds kinda sucky. I feel a little bad for you. But they clash, create this massive explosion that ends up separating all the other members of the League of Villains. And, Twice is kind of separated from everyone else as well. He goes running off into his own direction and finally ends up finding Toga after a little bit of searching. And, he finds her kind of beaten, bloody, and bruised and unconscious for the most part. And, he, starts to kind of freak out for the most part because he doesn't want Toga to die. He's very concerned for Toga's safety, specifically as he quotes from that time that she gave him that handkerchief to keep his head from, splitting apart, as he puts it. And, he starts to worry that Toga might very well end up dying as these shadowy figures start to approach Twice. And these figures are a result of the power of Tomoyasu Chikaku and his ability called Anthropomorph. And we even come to find out what his villain name or superpowered name is, which is Skeptic. And he has the ability to create kind of these doubles in and of himself. He's able to control various electronics and give them this human form. And the form that he chose to give him this time is the actual appearance of Twice himself. And because he's looked up all the background, the backstory of Twice in and of himself, and he knows what Twice's biggest weakness. He knows Twice's entire backstory, so he wants to kind of use that in order to just permanently wound his heart, because that's one of his biggest fears, just the confrontation with his army of him. The army of himself, that big bloodbath that ended up going down between him and all of his clones. And, he's able to, Tomoyasu used this, Skeptic used this in order to create these human-shaped figures of, Twice, these Twice clones, these Twice puppet clones. And he's using them as a way of breaking Twice and trying to induct Twice himself into the Liberation Army, just as a way of making sure that should Raitt Destro ever fall in battle, they'd be able to create a clone of Raitt Destro to keep the mission statement alive, which is typical various cult stuff. That's the thing. Once you have a leader who is able to band together all these various people, you never want to lose them just in the off chance that something greater might end up happening to them, and you want to keep that mission statement going. As long as that figure is still around and that figurehead's still around and alive, as far as the minions know, they will continue to fight on no matter what. So it's all just plans upon plans upon plans. But Skeptic is the true, like, real manipulator in all of this. Curious was, very Curious was kind of down. They're all manipulators in and of their own right, but the way that Skeptic is choosing to go for this, he's using Twice's own trauma in order to just, scare him and just break him down and use him as a means of just inducting him into the army for their own purposes, which is just sick in and of itself. It's really just nasty tactics. But it's interesting to see how, Twice will manage to overcome this very volatile situation. But that's the basis for this entire chapter. Not too much, honestly speaking. Some chapters here and there of My Hero Academia are kind of light in content in certain places, but it kind of feels like a bit of a cock tease, honestly speaking, when we had this big confrontation set up for Dabi to go in on this ice-based character, still just dangling that little, oh hey, is Dabi a Todoroki? Is that something? He's fighting an ice villain just like Shoto's ability, Fire and Ice. Ooh, is something going to be revealed there? But then we just cut off to this situation with Twice, which I'm not opposed to getting more Twice action. I love Twice. Twice is really fun, Deadpoolish-esque character, especially in terms of how broken he is. Like, the fact that Twice isn't just a Deadpool ripoff, but he also has that, broken, downtrodden background that just shows you why he's so broken. It makes him even more compelling in general. That's what makes Deadpool compelling. The fact that he has this silly personality underneath the fact that he has, wildly out of place and just overgrown cancer, and he was given Wolverine's healing factor, whereas it just kind of keeps his deadly cancer at bay, which is just constant suffering and pain for all of his existence. So it creates this very interesting character who's both tragic and funny within the same instance. But I want to ask, do any of you think we'll actually get confirmation on Dabi's background during all of this? Because I feel that this is the author's way of just being like, yeah, this is Horikoshi's way of just saying, you're not going to get that knowledge that you want. He's going to keep putting it off for as long as possible. The only downside to that is if you keep putting it off and you keep building on it like the way that he is, it feels that unless you subvert people's expectations, it's gonna be like, yeah, we figured this out chapters ago. Why are you still teasing us with this? Everyone knows that Dabi is a Todoroki. So there definitely has to be something deeper underlying this entire Dabi situation, because there has to be more going on with this. But I've honestly run out of things to say in regards to this chapter. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below on this specific chapter and how you felt that it was structured. How do you feel about Skeptic using using these clones as a way in order to break Twice? How does that make you feel? Do you feel that that's a really interesting way of going, or does it feel like just kind of like a cop-out for a more interesting ability, as they're just kind of acting as fodder for various members of the League of Villains to just get over certain downward aspects of their own powers and personalities and helping them grow as a whole? definitely tell me what your thoughts are there, and especially on the Dobby situation. Do you feel that it's just acting as kind of a bit of a tease, and Horikoshi's just delaying the inevitable, or do you feel that he's ultimately going to subvert our expectations in the end with all of this just meandering around the point for the most part? And not to mention, did you want to see that showdown? I know I wanted to see that showdown. I wanted to see Dobby throw down with that ice dude, but we'll just have to wait on that one. Again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment section below so I might better myself for future videos. And subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you never miss out on another My Hero Academia chapter review. And if you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. Trust me, you'll find me everywhere, for better or for worse. And until the next video, just remember that in the end, you only have yourself to fear. And if you can overcome that, well, you can overcome anything. Until next time, bye-bye.